Stratford University. Now, the topic that I'm going to discuss today for the Department of Admissions is the topic of nursing and some facts that I believe the Department of Admissions should be aware of in order to help promote our healthcare administration and health information management programs. Because one of the issues that both the Falls Church campus and the Alexandria campus has been noticing is that we have a plethora of students who want to go into nursing, but they're simply not prepared for the current requirements, which there are a significant amount of requirements, and the competition is rather tough to get into our School of Nursing. And I believe many students are getting into nursing under some sort of myth that there are tons of nursing jobs out there, and so I'd like to just start off with an article, and I will have all these articles and all these items present for everyone. The nursing shortage myth, an article written in January of 2013 by David Williams. That's on healthcareblog.com, and they're talking about how 43% of newly licensed RNs, these are people who already went through their program, already passed the NCLEX, 43% cannot find a job within 18 months. That is very different from what our students or the prospective students who are coming in here discuss, because when I ask them, like, why would you want nursing? And they always say, well, because there are a lot of jobs out there, their nurses are needed, and it's something that I really want to do. Now, in the world of lean hospital management, nowadays many hospitals are run pretty much based on certain models of business, and one of those models of business is called the lean management system. And that lean management system is companies like Motorola, companies like Toyota have created these models. So they're all about lean and high efficiency. So they're not going to be just having high salaries all the time. They're always going to be looking for faculty that they can try to get on the cheap, and that's just that is just the atmosphere, especially since the rising cost of healthcare. So to offset that, you try to run a hospital as lean as possible. So this misconception that there's a whole bunch of nurses abundant, and that they need them like yesterday. It's not really that true. Now, nurses come back. It is a known fact, according to some of the data shared by Mr. Williams, that nurses come to the workforce only when the economy is down. His survey stated that many nurses are part-timers, and they come in, and I'd like to share my experience from my clinical days. Yes, the majority of nurses don't work full-time. They're part-timers. They work when they can. They do a double shift here and they double shift there to make up their 40 hours. So that nurses are not the primary breadwinner, but many of our students are. So if they're looking for nursing to be a primary job, the majority of the nurses, that isn't their primary job. So let's talk about this massive shortage that everyone believes is coming. There is an overall national shortage statistically, but when you look at it, it is not based on locale. All of the numbers that they're sharing are, number one, they're old, and the numbers are older, and also they're based on national averages. But if you take a good look, there's other reasons and other articles that I'm going to mention here that this is not the case. For example, they're talking about, one of the things that they're talking about is many nurses are nearing the age of 50, and they're going to be retiring soon. Well, who retires at 50? Average age of retirement for typical, and I looked this up in according to U.S. News and World Report. Many people usually retire around the age 62. So that's 12-year gap. So, and also in medical, if you notice, there are many nurses. They're not young. They're much, much older because experience is cherished in the hospital. And there are also many physicians who are much, much older as well. So this thing about that nurses are gonna, there are a whole bunch of old school nurses are gonna retire like this year. That's a misconception. They're not retiring anytime soon. And so there are need of nurses, but not in that venue. There are also things that many articles don't take into account to. They don't take into account the long-term technological changes. Just like other medical professionals and other professionals in general, there's going to be more technological jobs, hence the HIM. Everything now is electronic health records or electronic medical records. And there will be more jobs in that than there would be for the clinician. It's more about the processing of the information to get to the doctor, to get to the billers, not necessarily the actual care of the patient. So that there is demand, and if you look at the current Department of Labor statistics from DLS.gov, 2012 median pay is $65,470 now per year, or $31.48 per hour. That is national average, and that is also accounting all the nurses who have master's degrees, all the high advanced care nurses. So it's actually the number of high advanced care nurses is rising in this country. That's actually where the shortage is for master's degrees, with masters of public health experience, that kind of thing. And it's raising the national labor statistics. So it makes it look like, oh, I'm a new nurse, I'm going to make $65 a year. That's not the case. You're not going to be making that for a while. Another article that I found was they were talking about human resources and workforce management, and they were talking about specifically in the state of Indianapolis that there are nurses that in the state of Indianapolis are taking lesser pay. Again, back to that argument, not necessarily argument, but the fact that many hospitals have to run lean. So they're going to pay their personnel, and that's doctors included, lesser money, and it's just the truth. Now they have another article that's also related, that as the market worsens for hospital jobs, nurses are going to start looking for other things. According to Peter McMenamin, he's an economist and a policy fellow at the American Nursing Association of Washington, D.C. He's heard stories, not only stories, he's talking about people that he knows, 60 to 100 resumes for nursing. 41,000 layoffs. Okay? Indiana University Health, which is just one facility, laid off 900 people. So, again, back to lean. Back to the more evidence that hospitals in the world, well, the United States healthcare system is running leaner. It's going to have lesser and less jobs. And by the way, because 25% of those jobs were cut, according to this article, were nurses. Right? So the health sector is regarding nursing is on the downturn. California numbers. Chico State, California State University at Chico, 86 qualified applicants they turned down. USC San Marcos, 90% they turned down their people, because remember, the Board of Nursing has caps on how many people you can graduate. So the only people you're going to pick up are the people that you're almost assured to graduate. and I've quoted this number several times, 72% of all TEAS applicants nationwide fail the TEAS exam at least the first time. Now, you can ask yourself, why are they making it so hard? They're making it hard because the standard is much higher and they want a better quality of graduate. So with all of these things, it doesn't make the nursing, with all of these daunting obstacles, it does not make the nursing profession attractive and also beneficial, especially if you're going to school on a budget. But again, we're gonna have applicants who are, you know, my mom's a nurse, my grandma's a nurse, and I always wanted to be a nurse. Of course, that's the person. Yeah, they're gonna go to Falls Church. But the people who are really
I'm not sure I understand.
Ooh, what's that? I just texted myself. Lovely. The majority of nurses, because you have, I question why do they really want to go, why they really would want to come in. Because if it's for financial stability, if it's for the paycheck versus, you know, the passion of it, the true passion of it, well, this might not be the program for that. Now, I found a whole bunch of articles from the Alliance for Health Reform, and they're all about nursing. So let's talk about even some more numbers. 266,000 of the advanced practice nurses. Well, there are currently around 3 million nurses, but 266,000 of them are advanced. Meaning to say is they all have postgraduate degrees. Okay? And like I stated earlier, more than half of them make career changes within the first 3 years. I also have another article that talks about how they get burnt out and they're stressed out. Well, because the trend is, and I can see why this is happening. The trend is towards a more administrative background that is required for the nurses. You can even look at our own nursing program. They have added a bunch of electives that are within our HCA program, because that is what's being asked of our nurses nowadays. I looked up 260,000 additional nurses will be needed by 2025. Now that looks like a good number. 260,000 seems like a whole bunch of jobs, but number one, remember that's what? Nationally. So if you look up nationally, there are currently 1,937 accredited nursing schools that have an RN program in this country. Now, if you do the math, divided by 10, and take 260,000 additional nurses that that the world supposedly needs, this country needs, it comes down to 13 graduates per year per institution. 13. So they don't really need that many applicants. Because a typical graduating class is much larger than 13, especially in the bigger colleges. And remember, according to the American Nursing Credentialing Center, it goes 266,000 of these 3 million are advanced care nurses. They have at least a master's degree in nursing. Now, another thing that's happening now, and DC just approved it a couple of years ago, is that nurses now do prescriptions. So it's going to ramp up the math, and it's going to ramp up the pharmacology, and ramp up anatomy and physiology. All the standards get higher and higher, but the pay doesn't get significantly higher. And of course, the cost of that particular program is significantly higher than other things that can get you the job just as quick with less issue. Hence HCA, HIM. Mentioned about dissatisfaction, 260,000. Now, the other thing that another article by Arbach, David, and Beerhouse and Steiger, that's Health Affairs 2011. They were talking about the projection of the nurses were usually a relatively younger set, and the younger set would be more full-time. But again, that other article, which is more modern, talking about how majority of the nurses are not full-time. Okay, that this relief of the shortage, that you need these nurses, is, remember, it's a downward business cycle. So when the economy is relatively bad, then nurses tend to come out. So right now we're doing okay. So economy-wise, or comparatively, GDP is looking good. Everything is looking relatively good during the Obama administration, despite what the media is promoting. It's so that healthcare is also robust, so that you won't have that many applicants. Now, like I stated before, many nurses are now advanced, so it's now going to take you a longer time to graduate. So you may think that the bachelor's degree is good enough to you, but you guys have heard me say it more than once. The bachelor's is the new associates, master's is the new bachelor's, and the doctorate is the new master's. Everything is being upgraded because of these rules and regulations. And another thing that I noticed, that all the articles talking about how there's a shortage of nurses, they're all in 2009. All current articles, the other articles I've been quoting, 2013, 2011, there are more recent articles that say contrary. So maybe back then, maybe 6-7 years ago, there may have been a shortage and a necessary need. But many of the articles are also stating that the necessary need is not in an urban or suburban atmosphere. It is in the rural areas of this country. That's where they need medical care most. My evidence for that is an article from the Department of Health and Human Services. One Mary Wakefield talks about how they're renewing the focus on nursing in rural communities, and because there's more than enough nurses in the suburban and urban areas. Okay, so that's my spiel regarding nursing, and how that we should ask our students and our applicants, how much do you really know about the nursing profession? How much do you really know about what nursing can do for you? Now, my one article alone that I shared with everybody, and that's located in one of our newsletters that we produce here. I'll try to find the specific one, and I talked about how the ACA, or the Affordable Care Act, is boosting up need. And the article doesn't talk about clinicians like doctors or nurses or any technicians. It's talking about healthcare administrators, people who need to organize the healthcare. All right. So that is all I've got. And if you've got any questions, kindly email me. And based on whatever the Department of Admissions needs, please give a call out to me. And I could set up these video conferences, or these little video vignettes, so that we can all share information, but don't need, and at your own leisure, and don't need to take time off from from your responsibilities. All right. Thank you very much. Tiny branches, and we're going to go into these tiny branches. So as the deeper you go into